making items during Ramadan. Minister thought buildings and public places easily accessible to persons. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Idham Naeem. Minister of Economic Development and Trade Mohammed Saeed says that the government will place necessary measures against any price hikes of food items during the upcoming holy month of Ramadan. Minister Saeed provided the much-needed reassurance during the fourth forum of the AHA series, through which the government provides direct answers to citizens' questions, which was held on Saturday evening. The minister said this administration has continued to largely maintain the inflation rate at 3%. He added that the government had managed to keep prices of food items stable during last Ramadan, made possible by President Dr. Mohammad Muizz's decision to constitute a special committee to monitor and oversee any price fluctuations. Under a similar arrangement and measures, the minister expressed confidence that the government would be able to keep prices stable during this Ramadan, scheduled to begin on 1st March. Referring to a World Bank report last year, Minister Said said, though the World Bank had forecast has managed to keep inflation below 3%. He said the cabinet had formulated and implemented if there is any hike in prices on the essentials list. The minister had also urged private suppliers, wholesalers and retailers to take additional measures to mitigate a rise in prices, asking them to share any difficulties or challenges faced with the government. Responding to a question on the recently introduced bunkering services in the Maldives, Minister said previous governments had not given any emphasis to developing the sector. He said in the past 5 months since the initiative was launched, the country had made great strides in further developing the sector, insisting that this venture will prove hugely beneficial to Maldives' economy. He revealed that State Trading Organization STO has already brought in 2 shipments so far, with the third en route. He also said a special law on international bunkering has been drafted, which marks a first for the island nation. However, the minister did admit the Maldives is facing several challenges, especially from neighboring countries that have already developed offshore bunkering facilities. He said Maldives has lagged behind as previous governments had not attached any significance to developing this sector. Minister Said said the construction of a storage facility for bunkering services in Horafashi, Halif et al. Will begin this year, adding that the construction of a port and a terminal will take international bunkering services in the Maldives to new heights. Minister of Tourism and Environment, Tariq Ibrahim, reveals that the government is aiming to plant 2 million trees before the end of the year as part of its ambitious 5 million tree plantation program. Minister Tariq made these remarks during the 4th forum of the AHA series, through which the government provides direct answers to citizens' questions, which was held on Saturday evening. Speaking during the forum, the minister said the tree plantation program highlights the administration's commitment to combating climate change and enhancing biodiversity. He said the government is aiming to plant 2 million trees before the end of the current year. To make this initiative more suitable, Minister Tariq revealed plans to design a special mobile application for the 5 million tree program. Through this application, one will know where a particular tree was planted and by whom, he added. The program launched by President Dr. Mohammad Muizz aims to combat climate change, enhance biodiversity and protect endangered native tree species. It was officially inaugurated on 5th June 2024, coinciding with the World Environment Day, marking a significant step towards environmental conservation. The initiative focuses on planting native tree varieties that are at risk of extinction. These include fruit trees, shade trees, flowering trees, and trees used in traditional Divehi medicine. Over a span of 5 years, the program aims to plant a total of 90 varieties of fruit-bearing and vegetable-producing plants, significantly contributing to the country's ecological and food security. Minister of Social and Family Development, Dr. Aishat Shiham, reveals that the government is set to begin a nationwide initiative to make buildings and public places easily accessible to persons with disabilities. The minister made these remarks during the fourth forum of the AHA series, through which the government provides direct answers to citizens' questions, which was held on Saturday evening. The minister pointed out that some buildings, parks and public places have been constructed with limited to no disability access, but said President Dr. Mohammad Moise has made some key policy decisions to address the issue. In that regard, she said the relevant authorities have now been instructed to make necessary changes to new and existing buildings easily accessible to persons with disabilities, adding that the efforts to make these changes will begin very soon. The minister also acknowledged the numerous concerns received from islands throughout the Maldives over limited disability access to buildings and public areas, adding that the government will work with the local councils to implement these changes across the country. She said the government is working hard to protect the rights of people with disabilities through changes to the relevant laws and regulations. The government, meanwhile, is also working to complete the National Register of Persons with Disabilities to gather essential information for providing necessary assistance. As of November last year, over 13,600 individuals have registered. This initiative aims to ensure that people with disabilities can fully participate in society and access basic services, addressing the need for accurate data to support them effectively. The Minister of Cities, Local Government and Public Works, Adam Sharif Umar, describes the way Maldives prepares for the holy month of Ramadan as a true symbol of the country's culture, tradition and the unity among its people. The minister made these remarks after inaugurating the Roda Saf Cleanup program launched ahead of this year's month of Ramadan. Minister Adam Sharif said the unity among the people of Maldives is evident in such social programs, noting that Maldivians have always come together on such occasions. The Road Saf Cleanup initiative is divided into 5 different groups with various ministries and state-owned companies. The Ministry of Homeland Security and Technology commences the collection of biometric data on foreigners employed in resorts. The ministry will be collecting information on foreigners working in 13 resorts as part of Operation Kurangi. The ministry said the work will run from February 13th to 16th, during which 56 employees of the ministry will be engaged in the data collection process. Operation Kurangi was launched on May 2nd last year as part of the first phase of the efforts to find a permanent solution to the issue of illegal migrants in the Maldives. As part of the initiative, biometric data of 52,495 foreigners has been collected so far, including data on 30,426 foreigners living in the Malay area and 22,069 foreigners in other parts of the country. The operation collects fingerprints of foreigners working in the Maldives and ensure that they are residing and working in the Maldives while complying with the laws and regulations of the country. The information required for this operation is collected by setting up collection of biometrics of foreigners in council offices. The Minister of Homeland Security and Technology, Ali Hassan, has earlier said that a centralized register of foreign workers will be compiled using the collected data. The Health Protection Agency HPA advises Hajj and Umrah pilgrims traveling from the Maldives to complete the required vaccinations prior to their departure. The recommendations aims to protect the pilgrims from diseases as millions of people from all over the world gather in Saudi Arabia for the Hajj and Umrah pilgrimage. It also seeks to limit the risk of spreading diseases upon their return to the Maldives. The vaccines required for Hajj and Umrah pilgrims are the meningococcal, conjugate vaccine, influenza vaccine, and oral polio vaccine. The HPA said all Hajj and Umrah service providers as well as individual travelers must ensure that they complete their vaccinations within the stipulated time. The vaccines must be completed at least 14 days prior to departure to receive full protection. The HPA said vaccination requirements are based on the prevalence of diseases and the risk of transmission in the Maldives. Depending on advancements in vaccine development and changes in the prevalence of some diseases, vaccine requirements may change, and the information will be made public in that case. Indian youth flag privacy as a major concern as India's markets regulators seeks broader powers from the government to remove unauthorized financial advice from social media platforms such as WhatsApp and Telegram, and to access their call records for investigations into market violations.
Students in various cities, while appreciating the regulator's step, also cast apprehensions on the potential access of their social media records. This is the second time since 2022 that the Securities and Exchange Board of India has sought such powers, with approval from the government still pending. The request comes as the regulator has intensified investigations into market violations and clamped down on unregulated financial advice circulating on social media. Social media companies have also not complied with the government's request for access to their call data records and groups and channels, despite an earlier meeting with the regulator. WhatsApp groups and Telegram channels have become popular among market participants, with financial influencers sharing trading tips on specific stocks and other securities in return for money.
Demonstrators marched to the U.S. Embassy in Dublin on Saturday, February 15th, during a protest against U.S. President Donald Trump and the actions he has taken in the first weeks of his presidency.
Nation is a crime!
Carrying banners reading "Stop Arming Israel" and "Freedom and Justice for Palestine," demonstrators marched peacefully, shouting, "Free, free Palestine."
So I think we've seen both in the Biden administration now and the Trump administration that the US has been a really strong and consistent ally of Israel as they execute genocide in Gaza and as they execute ethnic cleansing in the West Bank, as Israel annexes the Golan Heights and just flouts international law. And it seems that while you might get the occasional statement of, oh, we don't approve of that, but now that tack has very much changed, we still get the US sending millions, billions of dollars worth of arms and weapons and support to Israel to do what they're doing. And it's not good enough. We can't hold countries to different standards. If this was Russia doing it, we would be rightly calling it out, we would be rightly sanctioning it, and yet we've seen no action. And it's not good enough.
In shock announcement on February 4th, after meeting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Washington, Trump proposed resettling Gaza's 2.2 million Palestinians and the US taking control of the seaside enclave, redeveloping it into the Riviera of the Middle East.
Well, we're protesting that march to the US Embassy in Dublin because of the absolutely blatant and outrageous threat by Donald Trump to ethnically cleanse 2 million people from Gaza. After 16 months of genocide being committed by Israel with the support of the United States and Western governments, Trump goes even further now and threatens the ethnic cleansing a crime against humanity, against the people of Gaza. And we're here to say that we are standing with the people of Gaza. We support their resistance against this horrendous plan, and demanding that the Irish government do not bend the knee to Donald Trump.
Trump's suggestion of Palestinian displacement has been repeatedly rejected by Gaza residents and Arab states, and labeled by rights advocates and the United Nations as a proposal of ethnic cleansing. Trump's comments came after a fragile ceasefire was reached last month between Israel and Hamas. Karim Benzema was on target as he helped lead
roughly 3/4 of the play.
Mohamed Al in the 35th minute. Al-Wahda equalized 7 minutes later off a long ball fired on target by Javed Al-Yamik. But second half goals by Steven Bergwijn and Hussam Ora made it a 4-1 for the Jeddah-based team. The wins put Al-Ittihad on 52 points from 20 matches, 4 clear of Al-Hilal, who have fallen back and sit on 48 points after drawing in each of their last 2 matches. Al-Nasr is another 4 points back on 44, though with a winning streak in recent weeks after a sluggish start to the campaign. 6-4, 6-3 in the final of the Qatar Open on. Ranked 41 in the world, Anisimova also became the lowest ranked player to win the tournament as she beat 6 top 40 opponents en route in her third singles title. The American was ranked as low as 359 in 2023 when she took a break from the game due to burnouts, as it took a toll on her mental health, but the 23-year-old has been on the rise since her comeback and is set to move up to 18th in the rankings. Anisimova is only the second American to win the title, following in the footsteps of Monica Seles in 2002, while Ostapenko has now finished runner-up in Doha for a second time, having also lost in the 2016 final. South Africa's United Pharmaceutical Distributors, UPD, launches 42 electric delivery vans with solar-powered refrigeration from startup Everlectric, beginning its transition to an electric fleet.
Local startups are racing to offer such vehicles for local deliveries as retailers aim to achieve environmental, social and corporate governance (ESG) and emission reduction targets. UPD, owned by the country's largest retail pharmacy group, Clicks CLSJ.J, will roll out the fleet of 42 Maxus e-Delivery 3-panel vans in the provinces of Gauteng and Western Cape, said Trevor McCoy, managing executive of UPD, at the launch event. An additional 36 vans are earmarked for Gauteng later in the year. Next year, the rollout will include coastal cities Gqeberha in Port Elizabeth and Durban in KwaZulu-Natal province. UPD has a fleet of 100 independently owned vehicles across the country and plans to convert all its diesel-powered vehicles into electric-powered vehicles. The vans manufactured by China's SAIC 600104.SS are imported by Everlectric, which builds the refrigeration boxes locally to supply to UPD's independent drivers. Lender Investec INLJ.J is providing financing to the drivers. The vehicles are expected to cut about 1 ton of carbon dioxide per month each, with the entire fleet projected to save 2.4 million litres of diesel and reduce carbon dioxide emissions by 6.3 million kilograms over its lifespan.
That concludes news for now. Thank you for watching PSM News. Have a good day.